Now they have no options. They either have to face me or vacate the title.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. Inoue against MJ is one of the best fights in boxing.
He's avoiding the fight against me, and it's obvious. I have no problem with it. Just vacate the title, you know, and I'll fight. Give me my title.
If you love the sweet science, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment with your thoughts, because this channel is about giving you the real angles no one else is talking about. Today we are diving into one of the most intriguing discussions in boxing right now, Murodjon Akhmadaliev, better known as MJ, and whether he has the tools to dethrone Naoya Inoue, the man many consider the monster of the 122 division. The conversation around this fight is heating up because experts, trainers, and promoters are starting to lay out what makes Akmataliev so dangerous. Throughout this breakdown we are going to look at direct insights from Díaz, Hearn, Murodjon himself, and analysts like the Fight WTA to understand why this fight is such a big deal. And by the end of it, we will explain why Murodjon can definitely beat Inoue despite the aura of invincibility that surrounds him.
You know, I'm always talking about
work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
The analyst from the Fight WTA opened up the conversation by emphasizing the importance of working smarter rather than harder, pointing out that this is where experience comes into play. He singled out MJ repeatedly, stressing his name almost like a reminder that this is the man people should really be paying attention to. This was not a comparison to a mainstream celebrity like Michael Jordan, but a clear indication that Murodjon's qualities are unique in the boxing landscape.
That's experience. MJ. I'll say it again. MJ.
The focus here is on intelligence inside the ring, the ability to execute strategies that minimize unnecessary risks while maximizing effectiveness. In the modern boxing world, the fighters who endure the longest and achieve the most success are those who can combine talent with tactical discipline. By highlighting MJ's intelligence and experience, the analyst is drawing a contrast to many young fighters who rely solely on athleticism and aggression but lack the refinement needed at the elite level. When you consider someone like Inoue, who overwhelms opponents with power and precision, it becomes even more important to note that Murodjon's pathway to victory may not lie in matching fire with fire but in exploiting openings with smart, calculated adjustment.
And I'm not talking about Michael Jordan.
That's right. Well, MJ, the WBA interim champ.
This framing sets the stage for why the upcoming fight is more than a battle of strength. It is a battle of mental sharpness, preparation, and the ability to make the right moves at the right moments. If MJ can lean into his experience and fight with a work-smarter approach, he has every chance to neutralize the raw explosiveness of Inoue.
We know the king at 122 is the monster.
The Fight WTA then pointed out a critical dynamic in the division. While MJ currently holds the WBA interim championship, the recognized king at 122 pounds is Naoya Inoue. This instantly frames the fight as a clash of legitimacy. On one side, you have the established monster who has torn through opponents and collected belts, and on the other side, you have a highly skilled champion who is often overlooked despite holding world honors. The significance of this is not just about titles but about narrative. Boxing fans tend to focus on the star with the most hype, but the analyst is reminding us that MJ has a claim to greatness in his own right. Being an interim champion means he has earned his spot through sanctioned competition, and yet the spotlight remains elsewhere.
And I'm not talking about Michael Jordan.
That's right. Well, MJ, the WBA interim champ.
That creates a hunger, a drive, and perhaps even a chip on the shoulder for MJ, who knows he has to not only win but also prove to the world that he belongs on the same level as Inoue. This is why the mention of interim status is so important. It highlights the imbalance in recognition and sets up the potential for a career-defining upset. For MJ, this fight is about stripping away the shadow of being an interim anything and stepping fully into the spotlight as the man who conquered the monster. For Inoue, it is about defending his throne against someone who is not coming in as a stepping stone but as a serious champion with something to prove.
In a way. But this is a solid world champion here.
The analyst continued by stressing that Murodjon is not just some placeholder champion but a solid world champion in his own right. This was followed by Díaz breaking down the technical contrast between styles, pointing out that while other opponents may have been orthodox right-handers, MJ brings something completely different to the table. This shift is critical because style clashes define fights at the highest level. When Díaz draws attention to the fact that this is a left-handed fighter with a different rhythm, he is underscoring the element of unpredictability mentality that comes with facing a southpaw.
Well, it's a different style. It's a different fighter.
Orthodox fighters are more common, and many top names, including Inoue, build their legacies against them. Facing a disciplined, skilled southpaw introduces an entirely new set of challenges. Punch trajectories, defensive angles, and the timing of counters all change, which can throw off even the most seasoned champions. Calling MJ a solid world champion is about more than giving him credit. It is about recognizing that he brings a package that has not yet been tested against someone like Inoue. It is a subtle reminder that sometimes greatness meets its match not in raw ability but in the unique complications that a different style can present. For fans, this is what makes the fight so compelling. It is not simply another title defense for Inoue. It is a stylistic puzzle against a man who has proven he belongs at the top level.
MJ is lefty. Their both styles are different.
Thank you so much. I look
it's just
forward
another
to seeing
tough
your
fight.
Joel Díaz then expanded further on what makes MJ such a formidable opponent. He highlighted the fact that MJ is a left-hander and reiterated that the styles are fundamentally different. Díaz did not stop there. He went on to praise MJ's strength, superior footwork, discipline, and timing. These attributes, when combined, paint the picture of a fighter who is not only talented but also fundamentally sound. Discipline ensures that he sticks to the game plan. Footwork allows him to control distance and positioning. Strength gives him the physical tools to impose himself, and timing provides the ability to land clean, effective punches.
I mean, MJ is tough, he's strong, he's disciplined. I mean, he has great time.
In the boxing world, these qualities are not just nice to have. They are essential in beating someone who thrives on exploiting weaknesses. Inoue's greatest strength is that he capitalizes on the smallest lapses from his opponents, punishing them with devastating power and precision. What Díaz is arguing here is that MJ has the toolkit to deny Inoue those opportunities. If MJ can remain disciplined, use his footwork to manage range, and time his counters effectively, he can disrupt the rhythm that makes Inoue so dominant. This is where the belief that Murodjon can definitely beat Inoue starts to take root. Díaz's words are not just flattery, they are a technical breakdown of why MJ is one of the few fighters in the division who can realistically give the monster serious problems.
And look, this guy is a guy with the amateur background. He's got the amateur pedigree.
When the Fight WTA pointed out that MJ comes into this fight with an amateur background and a true amateur pedigree, he was not just throwing out filler words. This is a statement that cuts to the core of what separates pretenders from real contenders in boxing. Amateur pedigree is where discipline is forged. It is where bad habits are burned out of a fighter's system and replaced with razor-sharp fundamentals that can stand the test of pressure and fatigue. For MJ, that background means he knows how to fight on the outside, he knows how to fight on the inside, and he understands how to adjust when things do not go his way. You cannot buy that experience. You cannot fake it.
This is a mature, serious, solid guy.
This is not a man who stumbled into professional boxing by chance. This is a fighter who has been hardened in tournaments, who has tasted defeat and rebuilt himself, who has learned how to fight when the crowd is against him, and who has had to stand across from skilled technicians long before anyone in the professional world knew his name. When you describe someone as mature, serious, and solid, it means you are talking about a fighter who is not going to crack when the lights are the brightest. Inoue has made a career of overwhelming fighters who lack those exact qualities. He breaks opponents who are not disciplined, who make mental errors, who crumble when they taste his power. But MJ is not going to be overwhelmed so easily. He brings a maturity into that ring that says he is not there to play games, he is there to go to work. That amateur pedigree builds a foundation of calmness, of composure under fire. And that makes this fight dangerous for Inoue because he is facing someone who has been molded by the system that has produced some of the greatest champions in history. MJ is serious. He is focused. And when you are standing across from a man who has learned to treat every round like a calculated chess match, you know you are not just in for a fight. You are in for a battle of wills.
Physically strong, he's a southpaw, he's a good puncher, he doesn't waste anything.
When the Fight WTA described MJ as physically strong, a southpaw, a good puncher, and deliberate in his approach, he was mapping out the exact reasons why this fight is not a walk in the park for Inoue. First, physical strength matters more than most people understand. This is not just about how hard someone can punch. Strength dictates who controls the clinch, who can push the other man back, who can sap energy by leaning, grappling, and grinding when the fight slows down. If MJ is the stronger man physically, Inoue is going to feel it every second of that fight, even in the moments when they are not trading punches. Then you add the southpaw stance, and suddenly the angles change. Inoue has seen orthodox fighters his whole life. He has destroyed men who fight from the standard stance.
He's very deliberate in his approach.
But southpaws bring awkward footwork, odd punching lanes, and the constant threat of a straight left hand that comes from an angle you do not expect. Add in the fact that MJ is a legitimate puncher, and now you have a fighter who does not need to throw flurries to get respect. Every shot he lands has weight behind it. Every punch has the potential to alter the rhythm of the fight. And the most dangerous part of this description is that he does not waste anything. Wasted motion is where openings are created. Sloppy combinations are how you get countered. MJ is deliberate, which means if he throws, he has already thought about the outcome. If he steps, it is because he wants to control space. If he lands, it will matter. That kind of patience can frustrate even the most explosive fighters. Inoue thrives when opponents panic, when they swing wild, when they give him opportunities to land his counter shots. But what happens if MJ does not give him those mistakes? What happens if MJ stays calm, stays deliberate, and makes Inoue fight for every inch of ground? That is where the tension builds. That is where the physicality of MJ combined with his southpaw angles becomes a problem that even a destroyer like Inoue cannot easily solve.
He slowly, takes the air out of the room by carefully.
The fight WTA's final point in this sequence hit the nail on the head. MJ is not reckless. He has good legs, he controls range really well, and he slowly takes the air out of the room by applying calculated pressure. This is the kind of style that can be a nightmare for Inoue. Everyone knows Inoue's power is nuclear. If you give him space and let him plant his feet, he can end your night with a single shot. But the flip side is that Inoue's greatest strength thrives when he is dictating the rhythm. A fighter like MJ who controls range and uses his legs well can take away that comfort. By managing the distance, by deciding when to step in and when to step out, MJ can keep Inoue from getting the clean looks he usually thrives on. Now add to that the fact that MJ applies pressure without recklessness. He is not running into punches. He is not walking into traps. He is cutting off the ring, closing space methodically, and slowly suffocating his opponent's options. That is what is meant by taking the air out of the room. Inoue loves space. He loves opponents who give him time to set his feet and fire.
Pressure on, he's not reckless. He's got good legs. He controls range.
But MJ can crowd him, make him uncomfortable, and make him fight in situations where his explosive power is harder to unleash. Good legs mean MJ will not be a stationary target. He can move laterally, he can pivot, he can reset the exchanges. And when you combine good legs with smart pressure, you have a style that can wear on Inoue not just physically but mentally. Inoue is used to being the storm. He is used to opponents drowning in his pace. But what happens when he is the one being slowly drowned? That is the question this fight poses. And that is why the fight WTA's breakdown of MJ's deliberate, patient, suffocating style is so crucial. It is not just about surviving Inoue's power. It is about putting him in a position where his greatest weapon becomes harder to use and his confidence begins to erode.
He's avoiding the fight against me, and it's obvious. I have no problem with it.
When Murodjon Akhmadaliev declared that Inoue was avoiding the fight, it sent shockwaves through the boxing community. His words cut deep because they carried both frustration and conviction. A fighter of Akhmadaliev's caliber does not casually accuse another of avoidance unless he truly believes it. He is a man who has worked his way up, a former unified champion who knows the grind of championship glory, and for him to say that Inoue is ducking him carries weight. He framed it in simple terms: if Inoue does not want to fight, then vacate the belt. That single statement reveals the true nature of boxing pride.
Just vacate the title, and I'll fight. Give me my title.
Titles are not decorations, they are responsibilities. If you hold one, you owe it to the sport and the fans to defend it against the best. For Akmataliev, this was never personal beef, it was about principle. Inoue may be the pound-for-pound king, but even kings cannot hide behind their crowns. If MJ believes he deserves another chance, if he truly stands by his accomplishments, then avoiding him is unacceptable. This dynamic feels like a collision waiting to happen. On one side, Inoue's aura of invincibility. On the other side, Akmataliev's hunger and demand for respect. By calling out Inoue directly and framing the debate around courage versus avoidance, MJ put himself in the position of the truth teller. He is not begging, he is demanding justice. That intensity mirrors the way rivalries define legacies in boxing. If Inoue were to ignore him, history would remember it, and if he accepts, it could create one of the greatest clashes in the division. The tone of Akmataliev's voice was clear: fight me, or hand over what you cannot defend.
You can go to any divisions, I'll be I just need my title.
Akmataliev doubled down when he said Inoue could move to any division, but just give him his titles. That line captured the frustration of a fighter who feels denied the opportunity to prove himself. Titles in boxing are more than belts. They are proof of legacy, proof of sacrifice, and when a fighter like Akmataliev insists that he just needs his belts back, it is a cry for justice. He went even further, saying flat out that Inoue and his team were scared, that they were avoiding him on purpose. That is a bold accusation, but one that adds tremendous weight to this rivalry. When one fighter openly suggests fear is the reason for avoidance, it shifts the power dynamic in the eyes of fans. Inoue may be regarded as the monster, but the mere suggestion that he or his camp is scared of MJ introduces doubt.
No, I don't know if he's scared, if his team's scared, but they're obviously avoiding this fight, and they already apply.
Doubt is dangerous because it spreads quickly, and once fans begin questioning courage, the narrative around greatness begins to shift. MJ knows this. That is why he is relentless with his words. He is forcing the conversation, making it impossible for Inoue to remain silent. Either he proves him wrong by fighting him, or he validates MJ's claims by stepping aside. This is what makes boxing so electric, the blend of pride, fear, and legacy. Akmataliev positioned himself as the man who will expose the truth. If Inoue is truly the monster, then let him fight another lion. If not, then relinquish the throne.
Now they have no options. They either have to face me or vacate the title.
The tension reached a boiling point when Akmataliev stated there were no more options. Inoue must fight him or vacate the belt. It was no longer a request, it was an ultimatum. This is the language of warriors, of men who believe destiny cannot be delayed any longer. Akmataliev understands the stakes. He knows that boxing history is written by moments like these, where a challenger refuses to be ignored. Then came Eddie Hearn's voice, and his words elevated the entire discussion.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Inoue against MJ is one of the best fights in boxing.
He boldly said that Inoue versus MJ is one of the best fights in boxing. That statement from a seasoned promoter is not hype, it is recognition of something real. The world wants this fight, the fans deserve this fight, and the sport demands it. When you put the monster Inoue, a generational destroyer, against Akmataliev, a man with the hunger of an avenger, you get a clash that could define the era. It is not simply about belts anymore, it is about truth. Who is the man willing to risk everything in that ring? Eddie Hearn's words serve as a seal of validation. This is not just MJ's demand, it is the fight boxing itself craves. If Inoue steps up, this bout could become an immortal war. If he refuses, no matter how great his record looks on paper, his legacy will forever carry a question mark. In that sense, MJ has already done his part. He has cornered the king and forced the world to watch.
And I have to respect Inoue for taking it, because the people around him didn't want to.
When Eddie Hearn openly admitted that he respected Naoya Inoue for finally taking the fight against Murodjon Akhmadaliev, he exposed a truth that has been floating around boxing circles for months. According to Hearn, the people around Inoue did not want this fight. They wanted to steer him in safer directions, protect the aura of the monster, and preserve his unblemished reputation. That alone should tell you the magnitude of who MJ is and what he represents. If Inoue's own team was hesitant, then that is proof enough that Akmataliev is not just another contender in the division. He is a real threat, a fighter with the skills, pressure, and hunger to completely dismantle a narrative that Inoue's camp has carefully built. Hearn even admitted that he had to goad them into taking the fight. Imagine that. The supposed monster, a pound-for-pound superstar, needed to be prodded and pressured just to step into the ring with Akmataliev. That is not the behavior of a fearless warrior. That is the behavior of someone weighing the risks against his legacy.
And I kind of feel like I goaded them enough to take it.
If Inoue were truly the monster his fans say he is, he would have jumped at the opportunity. Instead, hesitation, doubt, and reluctance surrounded his team until the outside pressure became too much to ignore. And now, because of that pressure, we are finally on the verge of seeing a fight that fans have been begging for, a fight that will show the world whether Inoue can handle the relentless firepower that MJ brings. Make no mistake, the respect Hearn is talking about is not just respect for accepting the fight. It is respect for finally giving boxing fans the clash they deserve. But it also serves as a warning, because if you needed to be pushed into facing Akmataliev, then you are walking into a nightmare you might not be prepared to survive.
Because I see it as a 50-50 fight. Two best fights.
Eddie Hearn called it what it truly is, a 50-50 fight, the best fight in the entire division, the kind of matchup that defines careers and leaves scars on the sport forever. Forget about the manufactured hype, forget about padded resumes, forget about easy title defenses. This is pure boxing at its highest level, and there is no hiding anymore. Hearn was right to say that this is the best fight in the division, because both men bring something unique to the table. Inoue brings explosive power, speed, and the aura of invincibility he has built over the years. But Akmataliev Akhmadaliev brings the hunger, the relentless aggression, the ability to break opponents down physically and mentally over 12 brutal rounds.
In the division, the best fight in the division, and we're looking forward to being in Japan.
This is not a fight where one man simply dominates and the other folds. This is a collision of styles, of mentalities, of warriors who both believe they are the king of the super bantamweight division. And when Hearn said they are looking forward to Japan in September, he acknowledged something bigger. Japan will not just be hosting another Inoue showcase. Japan will be the battleground for a war that could redefine the entire division. If MJ walks into Inoue's home turf and takes everything from him, it will shatter the myth of the monster once and for all. That is why this fight is being called 50-50, because no one truly knows who will walk out victorious. But what we do know is that it will be violent, it will be dramatic, and it will answer every lingering question. Is Inoue truly untouchable? Or is MJ the man destined to expose the cracks in his armor? When you put all of this together, the story of Murodjon Akhmadaliev versus Naoya Inoue is not just another title fight. It is the collision of inevitability. MJ has been screaming for this fight, demanding his shot, and exposing the fact that Inoue's team wanted to avoid him. Hearn himself admitted that the fight only happened because of external pressure, not because Inoue was fearless. And now that it is finally here, it is being billed as the fight of the division, a battle so evenly matched that even the promoters cannot pick a winner. That is what makes this moment historic. If Inoue proves his worth, then maybe the monster myth will live another day. But if MJ storms into Japan, takes his titles, and tears down the aura of invincibility, then boxing will witness the birth of a new king. Either way, there is no hiding, no running, and no excuses. September is going to decide everything, and when that bell rings, the world will find out who the real monster is.